Adam, the White Hair Master. Season 2. Episode 53. After Ben received a request to deliver a shipment, Ben quickly discovered its anomaly and was faced with an extremely horrifying sight. What he just saw made Ben extremely scared. He immediately turned to run but fell again. Although the fall was quite painful, at this moment, Ben could not feel anything anymore. Ben tried to crawl forward for fear of the strange people in the car rushing down to chase him. It wasn't until a while later, when he didn't see anything unusual, that Ben dared to look behind him to see if anyone was chasing him. But when he looked back at the back of the truck, Ben was once again surprised. Not only was there no one chasing me, but the trunk of the car was also completely empty at this time, with no one in sight. Feeling strange, Ben tried to rub his eyes to look again, but indeed, besides him and the truck, there was no one else around. After making sure he wasn't mistaken, Ben approached the truck's trunk with skepticism. The fear had not completely disappeared, so Ben clenched the wrench in his hand and slowly approached the scary trunk. Ben was finally able to get close enough to see everything in the trunk, and once again, he was startled. This time, no one was in the trunk, but the scene Ben saw now was equally terrifying. There is a lot of hair in the car's trunk right now, scattered everywhere. If it was just normal hair, maybe Ben was not so scared. He was startled because there was a lot of blood beside the hair. At first, Ben reassured himself that this was not blood, but when he tested it with his hand, he could confirm that it was fresh blood. Perhaps this package was not properly tied when going through a bad road, so this hair was thrown out. While Ben was still looking around to check the package, something strange suddenly happened. Just as Ben was about to reach down to pick up a few strands of hair, a lock of hair suddenly wrapped around his hand. Surprised by this, Ben quickly withdrew his hand and stepped back. Suddenly, a lock of hair wrapped around his hand. Ben quickly let go of the wrench in his hand to try to remove the hairs wrapped in his other hand. But the speed of those hairs was breakneck. Soon they were wrapped tightly around Ben's entire arm. At first, it was just a small strand of hair, but a few seconds later, many other curls scattered on the floor of the car also began to move and rushed towards Ben. The curls continuously twisted like venomous snakes, forming a terrifying scene. Not only wrapped around Ben's limbs, but the curls also continuously tried to get inside Ben's clothes, and some of them succeeded. A series of strange and scary things happened that caused Ben to panic a little. He regretted climbing into the trunk to check the situation and then falling into this situation. Ben constantly struggled to get rid of the scary hair trying to crawl on him, trying to use all his strength. But it also took several minutes for Ben to escape. As soon as he was able to escape, Ben hurriedly jumped into the trunk of the car. He was afraid that if he was a little slow, he would be wrapped in those scared hairs. At that time, he was not sure if he could escape or not. The next thing that Ben does is run straight to the delivery address. Now he only thinks about getting rid of that horror item as quickly as possible. Ben also did not remember how long he drove to get to the delivery location in a panic. He just knew that the owner was already there waiting for him when he got there. After checking the package, there was a lot of hair falling out, but the owner did not complain. Just quickly called someone to collect the hairs scattered on the truck floor and then let the forklift unload the goods. Feeling that this was something shady, Ben asked the shipper about the origin of the hair he had just shipped. At Ben's question, the smile on the shopkeeper's lips disappeared. He advised Ben best not to manage things that don't concern him. Then the owner took out the money to pay Ben. The amount that Ben received was more than 1.5 times more than the original agreement. The owner explained that the money rewarded Ben for delivering the goods earlier than expected. After delivering the strange and terrifying shipment, it was already quite late. Ben brought a lot of questions back home with him. Ben still could not forget the images he saw when he delivered the goods despite his best efforts on the way back home. Every time he thought about it, his throat felt sick, and he still seemed to smell the faint smell of blood around him. So the first thing Ben does when he gets home is take a shower. He thinks this will help get rid of unclean things from his body. But the comfort of the hot tap could not stop Ben from thinking about the item he had just shipped. As a driver with many years of experience, Ben knows that this package has problems. It can be inferred that the source of the other hairs is most likely obtained by illegal work. While Ben was still thinking about many things, an unexpected something happened. At first, it was just an itchy feeling on the scalp. Still, the itching grew stronger and eventually became extremely painful as time went on. Rushing to touch his head, Ben was shocked to realize that he had a lot more hair on his head than usual. Over time, the hair on Ben's head grew longer and more abundant. Terrified, Ben was afraid that the situation on the back of the truck would happen again, so while these hairs had not yet wrapped around his body, Ben quickly pulled them down and threw them in the corner of the bathroom. As soon as he got rid of the scary hair, Ben quickly grabbed a towel to run out. But before Ben had time to do this, the hairs lying in the corner of the bathroom began to move. In the blink of an eye, the hair had multiplied and fused into the shape of a woman, and then this horror kept staring at Ben. Originally, Ben was about to run out of the bathroom, but the appearance of that scary thing made Ben's legs stiffen, can no longer move. At Ben's face of extreme fear, the scary thing let out a scream and rushed towards Ben at lightning speed. Too surprised and scared, Ben only managed to let out a scream of terror before the horror wrapped around him. The first thing those hairs did was wrap around Ben's entire body. At this moment, Ben could only think of one image, which was the sight of a giant python squeezing its prey. As the hairs got tighter and tighter, Ben couldn't breathe. The joints in his body began to crackle. It wasn't until Ben's whole body was softened and no longer able to resist that the hairs would disperse. But this does not mean that they had let go of Ben. When Ben lost consciousness, those hairs quickly went into Ben's mouth. The last thing Ben remembers is a shaky image of everything around him. Just like that, he fell to the bathroom floor, completely losing consciousness, and then passed out. Ben also did not know how much time had passed, only knowing that he saw Adam in front of him when he opened his eyes. Before ending his story, Ben again asserts that he has absolutely no idea what happened and has not done anything wrong. At this point, Adam also believes what Ben has just said to be true. He tells Ben that he understands everything and tells Ben to try to bear it a little longer. After saying a few more words to reassure Ben, Adam opened the door to the room but did not step out. Just wriggling through the door, Adam called Sarah and asked her to find him a small vase. At Adam's request, Ling quickly ran to find it. A few minutes later, she gave Sarah a small glass vase for her to bring to Adam. As soon as she saw Adam, Sarah asked him about Ben's situation. Because it had been a long time, Sarah was afraid that Adam was in trouble. Seeing that, Adam just smiled and said that everything was fine and he was about to settle this too. With the vase in hand, Adam quickly returned to Ben. Taking out a charming charm from his bag, Adam began to chant the incantation and brought the talisman close to the vase. Once he's done, Adam tells Ben to prepare because when he casts magic, the hairs will resist very strongly, which will cause Ben a lot of pain. As soon as Adam finished speaking, the talisman in his hand also began to burn. However, when the talisman was completely burned, the fire did not disappear. The fire was quickly sucked into the pot, and Adam looked at Ben, who nodded to signal that he was about to cast magic.